the way to the max.
We
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
Ay.
This shit slap, this shit black.
shit
Tell the
black, yeah.
DJ, won't you bring that back?
Bring
Turn
that
this
back.
motherfucker up, had the whole club spank.
Yeah.
What y'all feel is the biggest issues when it comes to today's relationships?
I would say it's communication. And I will also say I didn't really feel this way not too long ago. But now that I have a relationship that has communication in it, I've realized how much communicating I wasn't doing with anyone else. And you know what? And I may have been a part of that problem. You know, it was brought to me by a man that could communicate. So he was just like, your communication's trash. And I'm like, really? Because I think I'm perfect. You know, there's nothing wrong with me.
You found a way when you first said it too. Like, motherfucker, my shit is. I did. But I also realized as a woman, and this is personally, that maybe sometimes in my past relationships, I wasn't really doing a lot of listening to that man.
Add to that, communication is definitely like the number one thing, but it's not like that's so easy to say. Like a lot of things are easier said than done. What I really realize is one, a lot of women do not give men grace in regards to this non-judgment understanding. So like there's a difference between what your expectation of like a boundary or personal thing is, and then actually like just listening to somebody. A lot of this comes to, again, like part of my background is in sex therapy. Like a lot of women shut down if your man was really tell you what their weirdest fantasy is, right? Because like you see that as like, now that woman you're describing in your fantasy is the opposite of me. And now I see that as insecurity. And now we have a problem. Like instead of just giving him that space to be like, well, you asked me and I want to be able to be honest. So having that space, it's not just communicating, but for most relationships is giving the space to be honest. And so when I work with couples or individuals who have like, you know, trauma from previous relationships, it's like unpacking the like, have you given a space for someone to be honest? And are you honest? A lot of people aren't honest with their partners as well. We think we're protecting people, but then that's when you become jaded or scared. Like, well, I know I'm not being fully honest, so I expect they're not being, and a lot of projecting happens. So you might be communicating, but it's what you're communicating. So we've acted like change is a bad thing, but that's human nature. We're supposed to, and giving each other this space to be empathetic and non-judgmental so we feel safe. A lot of our relationship isn't as comfortable and as safe as we'd like to think they are. And that's why we're not able to be as emotionally connected and intimate as we'd like to be.
And I've known people, even back in the East Coast, I've known girls that have been in like 8-9 year relationships and maybe dated somebody once in between when they broke up a little, and then the guy had holes through the whole relationship, and then and girls that want to hold on to it because of the history and you talking about how people grow and shit. I was like, sometimes, and it ain't just the man, sometimes it's the woman that may not grow, and people just holding on to the history but not the growth. And they just like, well, I've been together, he was 18, he was my first, we got 2 kids, I just feel like it's meant to be. But he's still the same person he was at 20, and now you're both 30 and you're still holding on to way back then. And then I've heard so many women say, well, I just wonder how I used to be. Well, you've grown since then, and sometimes men and women, we might not been we may not been our genuine selves to begin with, because a lot of times people say, "Oh, she changed," but they don't be
in the beginning.
Change. They just revealed them who they really were.
It's a really emotionally evolved person to be accountable, because in order to be accountable, you have to actually want to grow and you have to want to be your best self. And so like, for me, one thing that I realized I was doing and why I was having these like detrimental relationship patterns was because I was rushing into things so quickly and just like not even really giving myself a chance to get to know the person and see, is this a person I could be friends with? Is this a person I could grow with? Is this a person I could, and just asking those hard questions, you know, and finding out like, where does this person come from? What is their relationship like with their mother? What was their relationship like with their dad? Did that play a role in who they are now? Are they seeking active counseling and therapy, whether it's self-help or through are they actively working through these traumas, and do those traumas conflict and coincide with my traumas in a way that's going to be toxic, or do they meet in a place where we can support and understand each other and grow together. And for me, like, I found myself just rushing into things too fast. And I think in a place like LA, like you said, where everybody's beautiful, everybody's handsome, everyone's attractive, sometimes we have these moments where we feel like we're falling in love every time we meet somebody. And it's not that. It's just that, you know, it is a facade. And I don't even think facades are intentional. Most times we're just, you know, nobody's their 100% self all the time.
You know, no offense, but women, y'all can be flaky. So it's like, I looked at it, I was like, all right, this is business. This is business.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
numerous times on business. You said, like,
I said it's happened numerous times. Like when JT told me, he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna have 8 women on Sunday." I was like, "Why would you ask 8 women? Why? Why 8?
Yeah, he got on me.
Why not 3?" But I'm glad all of you guys are here.
Yeah, you know, we're still going through a lot, and we're all just processing our traumas the best way we know how. And I think it's so important that we have these sort of conversations, and we definitely have to have more of them, because we're all, Black is so broad. You know what I mean? Like, what is Black anymore anyway? Like, we're all coming from such different places, perspectives, upbringings, cultural experiences with racism, experiences with colorism, just so many different layers to what it means to even just be a person of color, and trying to sort that out within yourself is a battle all in itself, let alone trying to sort it out with another traumatized person. So we have to have that grace and that patience with each other. And not saying that means that we should tolerate any sort of abuse or anything that diminishes who we are as people or makes us feel discarded or disregarded. But at the same time, I think that that these sort of conversations are important, and not only here, but with our friends, with our coworkers, with the people that we are pursuing relationships with, and really just taking the time to allow ourselves to really get to know people, and to do that from a place of non-judgment. But it's hard when you rush into bed with somebody and then all of a sudden you have all these expectations, and it's like, you don't know the person enough to even expect that, you know?
I'm going to chime in really quickly on that. From my experience with multiple individuals just having conversation, and even in some relationships that I've had, I've noticed men have a hard time offering emotional support. And I do believe it's just what they have been taught to do. Like, they haven't been, I'm sorry guys for the background, but they haven't been taught to express themselves properly. A lot of things come off as toxic or nonchalant, or just from a lot of their past traumas and hurts and pains and things that they haven't self-healed and done, and, you know, actually took the time to sit down and deal with themselves so that they can become a better partner ultimately for women like myself and you all, you know. So I think too, at some point, we should be able to, if we can balance ourselves and be in control of our emotional centers, we would then be able to offer some assistance in helping the men become more emotionally involved, so that they can ultimately be what we need them to be. Because men, we do need you. We love you. We want you. Even if we are independent, we still need our men, you know.
Absolutely.
But I think that's what keeps in between, you know, it's like guys could say like how a woman could pick and choose when she wants the man. She wants to be independent, but then wants to be dependent on the man at certain moments to benefit her. So sometimes that could rub guys the wrong way.
My nigga Pookie turned up
By the way to the max.
We turned up.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up, yeah.
Turned up by the way to the max.
We turned up.